West Ham 1, Nottingham Forest 2. I think that now seals our fate. I think relegation is inevitable. I don't see a way that we come back from this. I think London Stadium will be seeing Championship football next season. That was a must-win game against Nottingham Forest to bridge the gap to just 1 point. We're now 7 points adrift. I don't see a world where we bridge that gap. There isn't enough quality in the team to bridge that gap. The new signing Pablo looked quite good when he came on, don't get me wrong. Castellanos didn't have much, he didn't do a lot, but I don't think there is enough quality in this team to now bridge that gap. And it is the board's fault, it is the owner's fault. That's why the protests have happened. They've made their bed, now they have to lie in it. Unfortunately, that massive stadium will now see Championship football because there is not a way back from that 7-point gap. This was a better performance than against Wolves the other day. We were better today. It couldn't have got worse than that Wolves performance, to be fair, but we were better. We did show a bit of promise, but it doesn't really matter. There were players on the pitch that did have good games. Tomas Soucek I thought was excellent. I thought Taty was really good. I thought that Pablo was really good when he came on, Scarles as well. But none of that matters because that was a must-win game. We needed 3 points. It was 6 points, really. We needed those points, and we haven't got them. So I think Championship football will now be coming to the London Stadium. We'll get into the individual performances because there were actually some good ones, to be honest. It wasn't bad. The performance itself really wasn't bad. Areola, I mean, it's a 6.4 there, but before giving away that penalty, he had a great game. The save at the very beginning of the game against Nico Williams for that long shot was an unbelievable save. One of the saves of the season, probably, I'd say. It was a joke. Not that it matters right now, and I feel like I'm going to say that a lot in this video, because none of this matters anymore. We lost the game. But there were a lot of positives. It just doesn't matter. The penalty, I don't really know what he could do differently for that. You have to come out and try and win the ball. Soucek obviously heads the ball, meaning that it becomes a foul. If Soucek misses the ball and Areola then touches the ball as he's trying to kind of punch it or catch it maybe. I don't know what he's trying to do. Whether he's trying to catch it or punch it, I'm not too sure. But if Soucek misses the ball, then that becomes less likely to be a penalty because Areola's more likely to touch the ball. It's very frustrating. A very frustrating one. But I'm not sure he could do much for the first goal. I don't really feel like anybody could do much for the first goal apart from getting your head on the first ball rather than letting Dominguez get that flick on, because after that flick on's happened, it just loops into the corner. You can't do much after that. But maybe getting to that first ball was the play. Somebody at the front post needed to do that. You couldn't let him get the first ball. But in terms of the rest of the back four, you can see it's sevens like all around, to be fair. Walker-Peters, I don't think had a bad game at all. I think that he kind of shut down Hudson-Odoi for most of the game. There was obviously that one opportunity where he did cut inside and hit the crossbar. But for most of the game, Callum Hudson-Odoi really didn't do a lot in this game. He didn't offer much. He didn't create anything. So I don't think he had a bad game. Mavropanos, we didn't see an unbelievable performance from him. We didn't see a howler from him, which is a positive because we actually usually do see a howler from him. So for not getting a howler, I think that's a positive performance. A lot of the crosses that Nottingham Forest put in, he got his head on. So I think he did his job pretty well for the most part, to be honest. I don't think he could have done much differently for either of the goals. Neither of those are his job. Like I say, he did get his head on a lot of the balls that were coming in. So I think he had actually quite a good game. I think Todibo had a really good game. He gave the ball away once or twice, but he was so commanding. He won a lot. Less so in the air. That was more Mavropanos' job. On the ground, he won a lot. He was strong. On the ball, we know he's good on the ball. But I thought he was really strong at times when Nottingham Forest players were either trying to run in behind or even when it was just a case of Igor Jesus trying to shield the ball a lot of the time. Todibo was on him, didn't let him have a second. I thought he had a really, really good game. Ollie Scarles as well. Now, he did have a really poor game against Wolves, a terrible game. Yet he played really well tonight. I don't really know why he came off. Not that Mayers was bad when he came on, because I did actually think Mayers was okay. but I don't really get why Ollie Scholes came off, because I thought he was brilliant, more so in the first half. In the first half, he completely dealt with Amari Hutchinson. Amari Hutchinson had nothing against him, absolutely zilch, because Scholes was so tight to him. Scholes was, it looked like he was playing in a derby, and that's the way we should have kind of approached this game, almost like a derby. We needed a win and we didn't get it, but he looked like he was so up for it. He was so tight to Amari Hutchinson, to the point where Amari Hutchinson even went off at half time. He had nothing against Scholes, and going forward, he didn't offer too much, but there wasn't that much to offer, I guess. So he didn't have a bad game. Tomas Soucek had a fantastic game, I thought. Every time we think that we need to move on from him, he just pulls up with this unbelievable performance. And again, none of this matters because we didn't win the game. It's so frustrating talking positively about this game because we didn't win the game and none of this matters. But he had a brilliant game. Every first ball, whenever Matt Sells had a goal kick and he played the ball forward, Tomas Soucek won it every single time in the air. Obviously, heavily involved in our goal. That was great play from him. That's another thing he offers us, so dangerous from set pieces when typically we don't have much else from set pieces either. So he was absolutely brilliant, I thought. I think even, it's not his bag, but creatively I thought he was really good. That little dinked ball over to Bowen at times, he played nice first time passes through as well. I honestly thought he had an unbelievable game. He shows why we try to move on from him every single season. We buy Fernandes. We know that Potts is more technically gifted than Soucek is. Every single one of our midfielders are better technically. Paqueta's obviously better technically. Fernandes is better technically. Freddie Potts is better technically. But it doesn't matter, especially when you're in a relegation fight. If we're talking like we're a top 8 club, then yeah, maybe Soucek wouldn't work. But we're not. We need Tomas Soucek. He gives you so much. He gives you 110% in every single game. There isn't a game that he doesn't give you everything in. And yes, technically he doesn't create loads, but you don't need that, especially when you've got players like Potts, who's technically better, like Paqueta, who should be technically better. Like these players, you don't need Tomas Soucek to be creative. The other players, I mean, Fernandes, I thought he had an okay game. Didn't do anything particularly wrong. Didn't do anything that great either. Somerville, again, I thought he was really dangerous. He always just looks so dangerous whenever he plays. If I was a fullback, I would be really scared to come up against him because he is so fast. Again, technically, not unbelievable. He doesn't offer loads, to be honest. It's like, he's almost like Jeremy Frimpong. He is so fast and so quick with his movements, like Doku kind of vibes, where it's very hard to defend him. He just doesn't have the final product that we need. Obviously, he scored the disallowed goal. He just doesn't have the final product that we need consistently, unfortunately. But he is very dangerous. Bowen did as well as he could do. I didn't have anything bad to say about him. I thought he had a bad game against Wolves. But in this Forest game, I've got nothing bad to say about Jarrod Bowen at all. Tried to make stuff happen, even when it wasn't too possible. Paqueta stunk the gaff up again. He had like 1 or 2 promising moments. Every single time I've watched him this season, him and Kilman, I think, have been our worst players this season. If we can get money for Paqueta in January, we need to do that because he is awful. I thought that now these betting allegations were out of the way, I thought we'd see the Paqueta from when he first joined us. I thought we'd get that Paqueta back, but we really haven't. I'm glad he came off the pitch because watching him is horrible at the moment. I can't do it for much longer. He is just not at it. Castellanos wasn't great, to be honest. There were a couple of opportunities where he kind of held the ball up nicely and things like that. But in general, that rating of 6.1 isn't far off. He really wasn't great at all, to be honest. I wasn't impressed with him, although I wasn't really expecting to be impressed with him, given that it is still pretty early. He only arrived like a day or 2 ago, so you can't expect him to like fit in like a glove already. The one player that I do think I was really impressed with was Pablo when he came on. He came on for Paqueta and he did actually play in that number 10 role. I thought it was going to be like a 2 up top situation, but it wasn't. He played in that number 10 role and he was fantastic. He looks like a real talent. Not that I've ever watched him before. I can't say that I watched him before he joined us, but he looked really, really good, I thought. When he got on the ball, he looked like he was trying to create stuff. He made a nuisance of himself. I was just really, really impressed with him. Really impressed with him. But again, none of this matters. It was a much better performance than it was against Wolves, but it doesn't really matter. We didn't get 3 points. We're 7 points adrift now. 7 points adrift from Nottingham Forest. 8 points from Leeds at the moment. If they get something against Newcastle, it's more. 9 points from Bournemouth. They are in free fall, so maybe they're even probably the most likely one that we could catch. I don't see a world where we don't get relegated at this point. I think that is kind of written on the stars. I think the board and the owners are to blame for this. I mean, we say that all the time as supporters, but I really do think that. I think they've made their bed. They do as little as possible to keep us in the league. And we've had a manager like David Moyes at times where he's overperformed with the team he's got and got us into Europe. It's just not good enough. It's really not. But I don't see a world where we don't get relegated now. But that's enough of a rant from me. If you like the video, make sure you hit like. I'll be doing more of these. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you subscribe because that really helps. And I'll see you in the next one.